Hi folks, welcome back to another video with me, Stephanie Canada, on my channel Backroom Finds. Today we're going to be discussing survival bias, also known as why are all the vintage clothes and shoes so small? Alright folks, today is going to be one of those days where we use the notebook because there's a lot that I can't remember. I'm not an actor, it's not my thing. I'm a stage manager. I read and say go. That's what I'm good at. The one thing I do want to say is that this is all my research that I've done. I'm going to link every resource that I used for this down below, so y'all can tap on it if you want to read more. And I may have missed some things or some reasons. So if you guys want to keep on discussing down below, please feel free to. I am never opposed to being more educated than I already am. Survival bias, roughly defined, is basing your entire premise off of the items that have survived from the past. Now, I'm gonna throw the Wikipedia definition in over here so you guys can kind of see a little better. Survival bias really came about during World War II, when the British Air Force would get their planes home and start reinforcing the areas that the planes that returned home had gotten shot in. Not necessarily the other places on the planes that probably were more vulnerable, which is why those planes didn't return. There's another YouTuber who you may have heard of. I hope you've heard of him. The channel's called Veritasium. He's fantastic. I'm gonna link his whole definition of survival bias down in the bottom here because he explains it way better than I ever could. But what I'm looking at today is how the survival bias affects our perception of fashion and people of the past. So what that means is, as even I do it, I'm like, oh, people were so much smaller then. It's not true. The statistics show that in 1870, there was a poll done about 278 men in Ohio. Now, I understand that's not a very large study group, but the average height was, quote, a hair under 5'10". Fun fact, according to the CDC, the average male height today, 5'9". As you can see, the actual average height between 1870 and now are pretty much the same. So that automatically throws out that assumption that people were smaller then. So, small clothing exists everywhere. This lovely lady right next to me, ba-bam, ain't she pretty? She is, if I recall, a 25-inch waist. So for me, not a waist size I think ever been. She's lovely, and she managed to make it from the late 50s, which is when this is from, because that's when the Peter Pan collar transitioned to more of this pointed edge. The reason she survived, my guess, is twofold. Number one, she damaged. So somebody at some point like spilled coffee on her, there's ink, and I'm guessing someone just loved this dress so much that they were like, it's okay that it's damaged. I remember it when I wore it to this fancy event. It's fine, I'll keep it. The first reason is going to be it was something highly cherished by someone. Think wedding dress, prom dress, dress you wore on your first date. You know, things like that. The things that you and I still have in our closet. Because yes, friends, every single one of those items I still have in my closet. Can I fit into any of them? No. Second reason, it's something that you wore when you were much younger and just never bothered to purge. So I have clothes that I wore when I was 4. Now, why do I have clothes that I wore when I was 4? Because my mother was sentimental and kept everything. But that's fine. Third option, it's very possible that when this article of clothing made it to its first owner, second owner, whatever number of owner, it was already out of fashion. So no one wanted it. So all those things that you see that are new with tags from the, let's say, late 50s, that are the fit and flare style, more than likely, by the time somebody would have gotten it or forgot it was in their closet, you're sitting in the 60s. Those lines of fashion have changed drastically. Nobody wanted to be seen in a fit and flare. Everybody was going mod and short. It's already out of fashion. So what are you gonna do? You're either gonna donate it or it's gonna sit in the closet. And the fourth reason why I think clothing really has survived is because it is much easier to size down than size up. Unless your God-given seamstress left you inches of seam allowance. It doesn't happen ever because it makes the seams really bulky. It's really very hard to size up a garment without adding panels and changing the fit, repurposing. It's much easier to take a dress that's a size 18, 20, 22 and size it down. All you gotta do, take in those lines and cut off the excess. So unfortunately for those like me that wouldn't have loved to have those dresses. Yeah, they pretty much have been changed, cut up, and gone. We've all had the experience of walking through a museum. You get to a lovely fashion section, you look at it and you go, my God, those shoes are small. Friends, never fear. Shoes, as in clothes, weren't actually that much smaller, because what happens with leather is that if it's not worn every day so it's heated up on your foot and kept stretched taut, you normally should put wooden forms. Shoe forms. I went through, specifically look at this shoe section. Now, fun fact, I did in fact find in my Montgomery Ward catalog size 12s. Now, there aren't as many, and they aren't quite as pretty as the rest of them, but they're there in the catalog just like you would find them nowadays. There were sizes for these people, aka me, because I am one of those giant humans. These sizes do exist, from undergarments, from dresses. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of catalogs here because they do exist. Bottom line as to why these clothes aren't necessarily readily found is, in fact, clothes are worn. Because last time I checked, none of us are the emperor and we're not wearing invisible clothing. Another fun fact. The other reason why we see a lot of women's clothes making it through, and not necessarily vintage men's clothes, is because somewhere around the mid-20th century, it became socially appropriate for women to wear men's clothes as work clothes or rough clothes. So that's why we don't see a lot of these outfits for men from the 40s, the 50s, because a lot of those got handed down to their wives or their friends or their sisters so they could wear them when they're cleaning the house, when they're, out in the garden. Whatever your rough work was. Rough work, what is that word? That's an odd phrase. So what we are seeing of examples of the past are the dresses that stayed in the closet, are the patterns that you bought for home ec class because you had to buy 3 and only made 1. It's the survival of the items that made it through because they weren't used as much as the items that were used on a daily basis. At the end of a dress's life, or clothing life in general, before the days of Clorox wipes and paper towels galore and no more toilet paper, I had to do it. What you would do is, let's say your dress is done, the seams are shattered, it's falling apart, there's no more mending that you can do to this dress. You're gonna take that dress, you're gonna get out your fabric shears, and you're gonna cut that puppy up. It's gonna become either your kid's clothes, it's gonna become doll clothes, a quilt, and if it's so bad that you can't save it, it's gonna become cleaning rags or furniture stuffing, because they used everything that they could. You don't waste things like we do now. The contest winners! If you didn't follow along on my Wednesday video, where I took destroyed fabric and turned it into wall art, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But for everyone else, I wanted to make sure that during this video I announce the contest winners from that video, who get to have me mail an embroidery hoop with those poodle fabric in it. So I am going to go ahead and put that screenshot up now. Congratulations to my winners. I will need to get in contact with you guys so that we can get these off to you. Thank y'all so much for watching this video today. I want to thank every single one of you, even the new folks. Welcome. We like to discover new things here. So if you liked what you saw, go ahead and click that like button. And if you want to see more of these videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the post notifications so y'all can know every single time that I post. My goal for the next month and a half is to go do not 1, but 2 videos a week. If you're checking out my Instagram, go ahead and put that down below. I have given you a sneak peek of my next month and a half of calendars. Yes, friends, I do all my own sound effects. You're welcome. I just want you guys to know that there's a lot of new content coming to you and I wouldn't want you to miss any of it, especially the ones where I'm gonna sew things that I have no idea what I'm doing. It'll be great! Yes, it's March. Don't come at me. And by defined, I mean from Wikipedia. So take that at what you will. The logical error of concentrating... Yeah, this is gonna suck. My kid is now giving me direction. This is gonna be great. Dun dun dun! When the British planes would land... You're so good, baby. Thank you.
So how does survival bias
I'm watching
you?
my kids. Sorry, it's really entertaining. I don't know what I was saying. All right, so the other bit. I am crazy. I don't know what I'm doing right now. It's exciting. Leather warms up throughout the day, and it stays the size that it is. Good lord.
Blooper reel's gonna be full today.
Shoes are awesome!